Whoa. Okay. All right. Uh-oh. Guys, whoa. Wow. Look at that snake. That's actually a threat display right there. Of course, this is Ben and Jerry, the two-headed snake, and I show you the animals at the Reptarium all the time. Today, I'm going to show you some animals you haven't seen in a long time. I did want to give you a little update on all our tadpole milk frogs. Take a look at this one right here. So basically what we're doing is this one already has its front and back legs. So we go from this enclosure here, and we put it actually into this enclosure here. It's already a frog, right? So basically what we have to do now is get the ones that are frogs and put them into this enclosure here with all these little frogs. Look at all the milk frogs in here. They're actually little froglets. I mean, they're tiny froglets. So we got to get these guys out of here, put them into here, and then we'll feed these guys fruit flies. So you always want to wear gloves when you handle little froglets like this because you have oils on your hand that can actually be a problem. Slowly get like these frogs like this little guy right here. Look at this guy. We'll just transfer him over. He's already lost his tail. It already looks like a little milk frog.
Guys, we produce milk frogs!
I mean, this is crazy to me. You can't even imagine how wild this is. Like, every day I come in, I can't wait to get in here see my milk frogs because they're so absolutely adorable. Unbelievable. I don't know exactly how many we have. At some point, we're going to have to count them. There's one other little froglet right there. Where'd he go? There you go, buddy. Looks like that's all the little froglets there. So we have a bunch of fruit flies here. Let those guys eat them as they will. You guys know we work with the dwarf pythons from Australia that are spotted and children. Now Stimsons are actually children. The fact is these are a dwarf python. They say about maybe 3 to 4 foot. The spotteds get a little bit larger than the children. And this is actually a mutation of spotted pythons. There's not a lot of mutations of children spotted or Stimsons in the States. In Australia, there's a ton of really cool ones. My buddy Peter over at Critter Camp, you can check his channel out. He always has a lot of cool ones. But this is the one mutation that is here. That's actually a granite. It's a recessive mutation, and instead of having like bars and saddles, it actually has little dots all over. Almost looks a little bit like a checkered garter snake, which is really cool. So hopefully we'll produce some of these here in just a few months. I showed this when it was young. This is actually a Boegos Virgin, a cat-eyed snake, like the mangrove snake. It's in the same genus, which is a Boega, but it certainly looks a lot different. How cool is that animal right there? Absolutely wonderful. It's a rear fang venomous snake, but I've never been bit by it, which is good. This is actually what they call a Dions Rat Snake, but this is a mutation called a Melanistic Dions Rat Snake. These are native to Eastern Europe and into Asia. They're just a cool rat snake, and they actually come in several different colors. You have bright red ones, you've got hypos, you've got Melanistic. There's even Albino Dions out there. Just kind of one of those unusual snakes that I wish more people would work with. Another cat-eye snake or mangrove type snake would actually be the Gemma Snake. When these guys are born, they have lots of yellow bands and even some red bands, and then as they get older, they turn solid black. These guys are from the islands of Salo, and they are super cool. It's one of my favorite of all the mangrove or cat-eyed snakes because they are just so jet black and amazing. And they're really, really gorgeous as babies as well. This guy has got his adult colors in, and he needs a spot over at the Reptarium. And another Boega, like the Scionia, of course, are the Boegos Virgin, which are absolutely incredible. These are actually another mangrove snake, but they are definitely the creme de la creme of all the mangrove snakes. These are the ones that everyone is really wanting to get, and I am so happy that we have a pair. Probably next year they'll be big enough to breed, and hopefully we'll produce these absolute gems. Well, remember when I got those little tiny baby Melanistic Lacerta lizards? Well, look at how big they're getting. I love the fact that we have Melanistics and we have normals. The normals are really beautiful, green with all kinds of color on them. But the Melanistics, I love black lizards, and I just think they're really cool. These guys are, again, like little miniature tegus in a sense, and it's absolutely amazing, but I can't believe how big these guys have gotten. Literally, they're like 10 times the size they were before, and they're gonna probably more than double their size from here. You can see how chill they are. They're a little bit crazy inside the cage, but once you get them out, they're really chill, and they're gonna be really cool animal ambassadors one day at the Reptarium. This is actually a Taiwan beauty snake. One of the things I love when people are explaining things about snake, they'll be like,
this is a Taiwan beauty snake. It's from Taiwan.
No doubt. It's got Taiwan in its name, but it is a really large colubrid snake that can literally get like 8 to 9 foot long. Really beautiful color. Obviously, beauty snakes are amazing. And there's a whole bunch of different ones. You guys remember Jimmy. He's in brumation right now, but he's an amazing snake as well. I've loved these guys forever. I know a few people have asked, like, remember that lizard that Lori bought at the Tinley show in October? Whatever happened to it? That's actually Snow White, and she's actually here at BHB, but she does educational outreach shows for the Reptarium. So whenever we go to schools and stuff like that, she's the lizard that we take. Kids love it, but look at how beautiful she is. She will absolutely be on display over at the new Reptarium because that is a gorgeous, gorgeous animal, and she'll continue to do educational shows as well. There it is, Snow White doing well. It's been a while since I've showed you guys my red-tailed boas, my true red tails. This would actually be from Guyana. So these are the BCC, or Boa Constrictor, and look at that animal. I mean, just look at the pattern and how crisp it is and how beautiful that red tail is. These guys are absolutely amazing. The Guianas don't get giant, typically 6-7 foot, somewhere in that range. And I tell you what, as it gets bigger, it's just getting prettier and prettier. You might think that this is a Mexican black king snake, but you would be wrong. This is actually what they call a black milk snake, or a Lampropeltis triangulum gagei. What's very interesting about these guys, and you may remember if you've been watching the vlog for a long time, is they actually are tricolored as babies. They're red, black, and yellow banded. And then as they get older, they lose those bands and they get all this black coloration, turning solid black. I mean, that is an impressive snake. Again, a milk snake that can get a good 6+ foot. Jet black. I mean, this is an amazing animal. And this is the first time I've showed it to you guys since it's had its adult color. Remember that little tiny patternless African rock python I got? Well, it's not so little anymore. It's definitely getting big. Still a little bit squirmy and a little bit bitey every now and then, and that's how rock pythons are. But I love this animal. It is getting huge. One day this guy's gonna be 14, 15 foot long, and that is an impressive snake. I can't believe how large it's gotten in just 6 or 8 months since we've had it. Can you imagine what it's gonna look like in a year from now? A gray banded king snake from West Texas. Absolutely spectacular. This is what they would call an alternaphase. There's also something that's called a Blair's face. It has wide orange bands. They're amazing as well. But these guys kind of mimic rock rattlesnakes. If you've ever seen a rock rattlesnake, you'll see it's got that gray with the black on it, but of course it's a venomous snake. These guys, of course, are not venomous snakes. Absolutely wonderful. And this little monkey here is going to be moved over to the Reptarium and be an animal ambassador, so you can see it. It'll be set up in a really cool desert type of terrarium. I can't wait to get it over there. This is actually a jungle jag carpet python. The jag is an incomplete dominant, and the jungle, of course, that's super yellow, and you put them together and you get one spectacular animal. I remember when he was a baby, he was beautiful, but now look at how incredible this guy looks. It's been a while since I've updated you guys on the pied Moosarana rat snake. They've literally probably doubled in size since the last time I showed it to you. Absolutely incredible rat snake. Again, this is a pied version. Typically, they're born with a lot of red in them, and then they turn jet black. They don't have the white in them. This white makes them pied, and they are absolutely spectacular. With any luck, next year, we'll be able to breed these guys. The Albert's pythons are what they call white-lipped pythons because, of course, that beautiful white lip on that black head is unbelievable. This is what they would call the northern version, which has got that kind of coppery bronze look to it. They have quite a strike, and I've been bit by this guy a little bit. His name is Ace. Used to be over at the Reptarium. Now he's at BHB for breeding, but gonna go back to the Reptarium for sure because it's an impressive snake, and oftentimes you can't really handle these guys hardly at all. Ace is pretty good when you get him out and actually let him crawl around. It's just when you're first taking him out of his enclosure, he gets a little cage defensive, but that is one impressive snake. And as far as the Albert's pythons go, there aren't much bigger than this. This is a giant one. This is another beauty snake like the Taiwan beauty snake that I showed you before. The difference is this is actually a Tiniaris Ridley Eyes, whereas that's a Tiniaris Freezii, so just a different subspecies of the same species. These guys are, of course, found in caves, of course, cave-dwelling rat snakes. Wow, isn't that an epiphany? But they are a really beautiful snake. I mean, they have that amazing bluish on their head. They go to this tan, and then look at the amazing tail pattern on it. Unbelievable. Beauty snakes are incredible. And probably my favorite of all the beauty snakes would be the Ridley Eye. There are blood pythons, and then there are short-tail pythons. Whoa! Whoa! Okay, relax. And this guy is no Danielle and likes to bite a little bit, but I got it as a teeny tiny baby, and it had a very interesting pattern to it, and I thought to myself, wow, that is a cool animal. Let's go ahead and keep it. 2 years later, it's an absolute beastie. I mean, look at how incredible it is. I tell you, when these guys bite, it hurts a lot, so I'm going to try my best not to get bit by this monkey, but wow, that's an incredibly beautiful snake. I can't believe how big he's getting. The last time I probably showed my Cape Fowl snakes was when I unboxed them, actually, which was really cool. I was excited. I actually was in South Africa, where these guys are actually from, and I saw them for the very first time in my buddies over in the Durban area, Ralph and Ralph, over at Ultimate Reptile, and I fell in love with them. It took me about 2 or 3 years to find someone that would actually send them over from South Africa. Just a very unusual snake. Probably the weirdest snake I've ever worked with in my entire life, but just absolutely amazing. I sure hope that in the next 2 years we can get our group up to size, start producing them here in the US so that they're available in the US, because these are going to be super popular. I love these little pythons from Indonesia. These are called Savo Pythons, and they're just incredible. This is a pretty large one. Typically they stay a lot smaller than this. This is about as big as I've ever seen one, and we produced these the last few years. They're incredible. When they hatch out, they're kind of a reddish color, and then they turn into this kind of brownish gray color as they get older. But you can still see all the freckling in the side. With any luck, we'll go 4 years in a row and have some little baby Savus later this summer. This is actually a Hog Island Boa, a really kind of cool boa constrictor that you don't see very often. Back in the 80s, these guys were coming in as imports. You've seen them quite frequently, and then now they don't import them anymore. They come from a very small range. He's a little bit feisty, so you have to be a little bit careful. The thing that was interesting about this guy is that, whoa, and I told you he's a little feisty. The thing that's interesting is when he was young, he was super tame, and then he finally got to this size and turned into a maniac. back. Okay, all right, uh-oh. Look at that mouth open. It's like, don't muck with me, buddy. Don't muck with me. Wow, look at that snake. But it is absolutely gorgeous, even though it does have a bit of an attitude. Woohoo! I love Western hognose snakes. I have been working with them for, gosh, probably 25 plus years. And we actually were the first people to ever produce the axanthic or aneurystic. And this is actually an axanthic anaconda. So the axanthic's recessive mutation, the anaconda's incomplete dominant. It's got this really cool kind of anaconda patterning to it, hence the name anaconda, but also with that axanthic silvery gray look to it. Absolutely wonderful snake. Earlier, I showed you the Guyana true red tail, but look at this. These are Suriname true red tail boas. Look at the tail on this monkey right here. And the Surinams can get pretty big. They can certainly get 10 plus foot. They like the camera. They're like, come get a little closer. I'd like to take a little bit of a nip. And that's the thing about true red tails is sometimes they're a little bit more high strung than say the common Colombian or Boa Constrictor imperators. But man, are they gorgeous. And these guys are going to get a really cool display over at the new Reptarium so that people can see the true beauty of true red tails. When I was offered these snakes about 2 years ago, these are the albino wolf snakes, I was blown away. I had never even seen them. I had seen pictures of wolf snakes, but I didn't even know anyone that really kept them because they weren't like a real popular snake to keep. But the albinos are crazy. I think it might be one of the coolest albino snakes that I've ever seen, to be honest with you, because it has so much red. Typically, albino snakes are kind of orange and white, which is beautiful in itself. But the fact that this is more of a reddish pink color, pure white, makes them absolutely stunning. And as of when I bought them, this was the only pair that was ever imported into the US. I don't know if any more have been imported or not, but with any luck, next year we can actually produce some of these guys, because I tell you what, I am in love with them. Really interesting snake here. This is a puffing snake. You can see he starts to puff that neck up like, don't mess with me. That's actually a threat display right there. Look at that. These guys have a really long strike as well, but wow, that is absolutely so impressive. I got this guy as a little tiny baby, and he's starting to get big now. It's only about a year old right now. This will eventually get up to 8 or 9 foot. Really impressive snake, but again, using that threat display like, hey, you get close to me and I'm gonna bite you. You can see that tongue's coming out kind of fast. That neck is puffing up. It's gonna throw it off any predators with that action right there. Looks like a really menacing snake, but the truth is they are really pretty awesome. You guys are so used to seeing all the animals here at the Reptarium, but we work with so many awesome animals that you guys don't see that hopefully will one day make it over to the Reptarium or be part of our breeding program. I think they are absolutely amazing. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, there's a playlist that you can watch all kinds of videos. You can also hit that subscription button. It would mean a lot to me. Also, hit that like button while you're down there. Have a wonderful day, Reptile Army. Remember,